This is Karen with newclevelandradio.net. It is time for What in the World with Paul Seaburn and his sidekick, John DiNallo. And it is Tuesday, the last Tuesday in January, guys. So we are off to a great, great month because in February it will be short. And that means we're close to spring. What in the world, guys?
Wow, there we go. What an optimistic opening there, Karen. Thanks so much. People are going to think it's all downhill from here with that kind of really positive, upbeat, yes, I can coaching message right there from Karen Hale. Hey, everybody, it's me, Paul Seaburn, your host of What in the World, everybody's favorite weird news show, real news, sometimes strange, always funny. If you're listening to us live, you may have noticed that I haven't been on Facebook for a day due to Facebook issues. I'm not in Facebook prison yet. It's some sort of technical problem. So hopefully if you're listening to us in the future, it's already been resolved and I'm back on, because God, I'm addicted to Facebook. It's terrible. I make like $6 a month on it. So I need that money.
Can't lose that cash cow.
That's my lunch money. So anyway, thanks so much for joining us on this Tuesday in Cleveland, Ohio, northeastern Ohio. We are all three of us are normally in Northeast Ohio. We'll talk about John in a minute, but the one voice you heard in your ear was Karen Hale, our producer, co-host, media mogul at newclevelandradio.net. Also, the owner and proprietor and coach of Yes I Can Coaching, our sponsor. Go to newclevelandradio.net. You will find out how to download our show, all the other great podcasts that Karen produces. Good stuff all the way around. So please do that. The other voice in your other ear is none other than John DiNallo, my co-host, another co-host, color commentator, all around good guy, all around sports guy, host of What in the World of Sports. Hey, John is in Florida. He looks great. He's rested, not arrested, just rested.
Well, I'm glad you said that for everyone's sake in my family to make sure that I'm on the up and up. But
we can't see if you're wearing an ankle monitor, John. So
well, you can't see that. So if I am, so you have to take it on good faith that I don't have one on, Paul.
I hope all your relatives are listening to the show. That would be great. That doubles the number of listeners we have right there. John's got a big family.
Well, that's to our credit.
All right, enough of this nonsense. Let's get to the positive stuff that Karen claims we're going to be talking about here. So thanks so much for joining us on What in the World. As I said, everybody's favorite weird news show, real news, sometimes strange, always funny. We stay away from the bad news, the politics, the religion, the business, all that stuff that you can get someplace else. We just find the weird, the strange, and the fun news, and then we have even more fun with it as we talk about it. So we hope you have as much fun as we do. Let's get right to it. What kind of let's see, what kind of stories are boy, this is we got monkey stories, monkey reports from South Carolina and from another place too, South Carolina and beyond. We've got a link between coyotes and Yetis. Interesting story there. The best place for donut lovers to give birth. This was a strange story, interesting story, very funny. An exhausting look at exhaust burgers. Oh, John, this is for you. When you get hungry on the road, I got a perfect solution for you.
But that happens a lot too, so I'm going to listen up.
I know. and then just to get ready for the Super Bowl, chocolate beer. We're going to be talking about chocolate beer if you want to imbibe in something unusual at your party. Also, electric workouts. That's another one, John. A little sports, sports from me for a change.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we got more news. We got world records. We got John's got a couple of sports. But then we play everybody's favorite weird news game, Bluff the co-host. So thanks to everybody who sent me messages this week on Facebook. I will be talking about some of them as well. Hopefully I'll be back on and we'll be communicating again. So let's get right to it. Regular listeners know, and my family, of course, the other half of our listeners know that I like monkeys. They know that I love monkeys. Monkeys are my favorite animals. So it should come to no surprise. This week is about monkeys. In fact, I have a couple of monkey stories this week. I'm thrilled. First one, you may remember, and we talked to our friend Dan down in South Carolina about 3 months ago. 43 monkeys escaped from a lab where they were being taken care of. I don't know. It was called the Alpha Genesis Primate Research Center. So they weren't testing drugs on them. They were researching how to help them survive whatever's coming up. The big monkey apocalypse that so what happened was somehow 43 of them escaped and were living in the woods, and slowly but surely people were going out. They were catching them. The government was telling people to stay away from them. Don't kiss them, for God's sake. Don't touch them. Don't do anything that you shouldn't be doing with monkeys or any other kind of animal. Well, they finally caught the last 4 monkeys that were escaped. Let's see. I think I have a picture of those cute little buggers right here. For those of you, while I'm talking about showing a picture, if you're listening to us, we do, instead of watching us on YouTube, we do have pictures that go along with a lot of the stories. So it's always fun to take a look at them. We'll describe them as best we can. So, and also we need to plug, What Would You Say to a Naked Space Alien, my book. It's out on Amazon. Go to paulseaburn.com and all the links are there. And I appreciate you buy early. Start buying some for next Christmas. Okay, so here's those cute little rhesus monkeys. 4 of them, as a matter of fact, I guess right before they got caught. So turns out the monkeys gave up when they saw the price of bananas from Mexico. So they didn't really get caught. They kind of said, "Oh no, they're cheaper in the lab." On their first day back, John, this is interesting. They demanded laptops for all of the other monkeys in the facility, and they're going to start typing all together and come up with one screenplay about their adventure. So that should be interesting.
Well, that sounds over the top, Paul.
That's our middle name on the show, Over the Top. That
is right.
Yeah, they talked to the other monkeys, in monkey speak, and they told them what it was like on the outside, what they learned on the outside. And it turns out they learned that ape, SHIT, doesn't mean what you think it means in the lab. So that's one thing they learned. They also learned that what they thought monkey business meant is not it. Monkeying around, certainly they were surprised when they found out what that meant. Monkey wrench, they had no idea what that meant. And my favorite, grease monkey. Now, I haven't heard that term in a long time. John, have you heard somebody or
no? But I'll tell you what, Paul. You know that back in the day, if a person was working in a garage or a gas station, that's what they were referred to, right? It was, and that was not a derogatory term by any means. It was just, hey, the grease monkey. He'll take care of it, right? Exactly. Right. Yeah.
Well, I remember when my dad told me, and I was a little kid, just like John says, we're little kids. Your dad says, "Hey, we're going to go see the grease monkey." I already was a monkey fan, so I'm thinking, oh, this is great. We're going to the zoo. We're going to see a monkey all covered in lard or Wesson oil or something.
Oh, disappointment.
Oh my God. When they take us to the garage and there's this guy in a uniform with his name on it. I want to know, where's the grease monkey? I'm disappointed. So
a good one, Paul. Good one.
Over well, yeah. I think he charged my dad a little bit extra because he was he was a little insulted at this little kid. Don't believe it when somebody says when they also told the monkeys, don't believe it when somebody says they're your uncle, because they're not.
That's good.
And they also said that they didn't really want to get caught. They would still be out there, But they didn't listen to the Bigfoot that they ran into, who told them that the secret to not getting caught is to act blurry. So that's what happened. They didn't act blurry. They could see, they got spotted, and next thing you know, they're caught. So I'm glad they're back in a safe place. So that's good. Nobody
Yeah,
got
I'm glad
hurt.
they're safe. Good. That's a good thing.
So this this is my favorite story. A pregnant woman in Alabama was on her way to the hospital to give birth. So she's in labor already, labor pains, or whatever happens before you give birth. When she started going into labor in the car, so her husband pulled into, get ready, a Krispy Kreme donut shop, and she gave birth in the parking lot of a Krispy Kreme in Alabama.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Healthy baby
Wow.
girl, healthy baby girl. It was the right place to be, it turns out, because as soon as the baby's head popped out, the husband's eyes glazed over and they sprinkled in his pants.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
get the horn out for that one.
There we go.
See, I figured at a donut shop there'd at least be a couple of policemen
Well,
that help deliver.
well, you're on the money today, Karen. Very good. Here's the deal. The reason why there weren't any cops there, despite what Karen said, is that the Krispy Kreme was closed. They're not open 24 hours.
Oh, okay.
I see. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. When the manager came in and heard all about it, I don't know if they were still there, but obviously the management heard all about it. He gave the couple, get ready, free donuts for a year. He's hosting a donut party at Krispy Kreme for the baby's first birthday, and he's creating a special donut in honor of the birth. Poor kid.
Oh,
Yeah, poor kid.
That's kind of
What?
that's kind of that's kind of entrepreneurial by this Krispy Kreme manager, right?
Oh.
I mean, it's pretty interesting.
It's
Yeah.
great for him. Great for him. But the poor little girl, she's not even a week old. She's already pre-diet. Oh, we need to rehearse those lines. She's still pre-diabetic from all those donut thoughts. There we go.
Oh wow. Maybe she can just eat the donut whole, so she won't have to eat a whole one.
Oh man. Oh, there's a horn for John.
Hey, well deserved. Well deserved. I get it.
So they named the girl Dallas. Now I'm thinking, you could have come up with a Krispy Kreme kind of name for it. I was trying to come up with some sort of name that related to donut. All I could come up with was Shelly, like a Shelly donut. They're not quite. It wasn't quite there. You guys got any ideas?
Boy, I don't. I don't.
If she had been born in Cleveland, obviously her name would be Punchki. So
oh, sure, of course, that makes sense.
At least
honoring all the Eastern Europeans. Sure.
Our little Punchki, our little Punchki was born at Krispy Kreme. You could hear it a mile away, right? They in Cleveland. They also the guy said they're going to name a donut after the baby. They were going to name one after the mother too, but the filling kept coming out. So
uncalled for.
I debated about that one. And I thought, oh yeah, I'll do it. Why not? Speaking of donuts, there's another one for you. Griffin Claw Brewing of Birmingham and Rochester Hills in Detroit. Did you remember them, Karen? Griffin Claw Brewing? They're probably one of these.
Never heard of them.
Yeah. Well, they're in Detroit. They've teamed up with Dutch Girl Donuts, which is also a Detroit organization, to create a limited edition. Get ready for this: chocolate glazed donut stout. So it's a
oh boy,
yeah, stout that tastes like chocolate glazed donut stout. I used to have people say that about me until I went on a diet. Think about
that's
it.
a good one, Paul. That's a good one.
So here we go. Here it is right here. The very dark beer, obviously. It's chocolate donut flavored and nice light brown foam on the top, nice head. So they said that Dutch Wagon stout, the chocolate stout, tastes like fresh chocolate glazed donuts with a hint of Dutch Girl coffee. So it's donuts and coffee in beer as well. So donuts, coffee, and beer, which sounds like something a single guy makes when he opens up the refrigerator and all he finds is coffee and donuts and beer.
Right.
So,
Actually, to me, folks, that looks like something I would try. I mean, a lot of these craft beers are, I don't know, they don't appeal to me, but I think I would give this one a whirl. I think I would try it.
well, it's a limited time only, John. So, maybe they'll give you a discount for plugging it on What in the World. We'll see.
I'll let you guys know next week what I find out about that. Yeah, that sounds good.
Well, if you're interested, 8% alcohol, so it's it's on the high side. And you can, if you want, you could pump it up even more if you throw a couple of rum balls in there, or maybe some of that brandied fruitcake you like.
Oh, yeah, that would do it. Yeah, sure.
Now, unlike donuts, chocolate glazed donut beer only comes in a 4-pack rather than a dozen, or even a baker's dozen, or a 6-pack. It only comes in a 4-pack. So the fans of the beer are pushing the beer company to team up with Hostess and make little chocolate donuts beer and come like in a bag of, look at how, I can't even tell. There's a bag of them there. There's got to be 15 or 20 of those little chocolate donuts. I love those little chocolate donuts.
Oh, they're excellent. I agree, Paul.
Yeah, Hostess, yeah, whoever makes them, I don't care. And Tenemans, I think they make them. Doesn't matter.
Sure.
And so whenever I think of Little Chocolate Donut, I think of Saturday Night Live and the original cast. Now, this is for fans of Saturday Night Live. This is the 50th anniversary year. They just had a special on last night about the music of all 50 years. I have been watching since the original show. I could count on one hand, maybe, the shows that I did not watch that I missed for some strange reason. So one of my favorite sketches was John Belushi being
I remember that very well, Paul. Yeah.
Donuts of Champions. He used to eat little chocolate donuts, and he competed in the Olympics. One of the funniest things I've ever seen.
I agree. Yeah.
So, anyways, there's a little blast from the past there, courtesy of John Belushi, Little Chocolate Donuts and Chocolate Glazed Donut Beer. This is for you, John. According to a new study, zapping yourself with electrical muscle stimulation during resistance training, that's like weightlifting, can lead to greater muscle mass and strength improvement than weightlifting alone. So that's what they're talking about now is, while you're working out, you hook yourself up. I don't know if you plug yourself into the wall or what, but you get this electrical stimulation and you get much bigger muscles than you would by weightlifting alone or whatever exercise you do.
Well, I have to say, Paul, that's too much effort for me. Sorry.
Too much effort to plug it in and
too complicated. Let me just kind of wrestle with these 5-pound weights that I'm lifting or whatever, and not have to deal with something of this kind of technology, right? I mean, maybe obviously it's proven it makes an improvement, right? So, but I'm too old school.
It's working so well. There's already a gym that's opening up. Sponsored by, there's the electrical stimulation on your biceps right there. There's a nice young lady pumping up her calf muscles with electrical. For those of you who are interested in it, but the gym that's opened up, where'd it go? I thought I had a gym here. There, I guess I lost it. Hans and Franz. You remember Hans and Franz? They're opening a gym. They're gonna
sure.
They're gonna shock you up, is what they're gonna do. Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's working on a new movie based on this called Conan the Electrician. So, John, I'm gonna try this out, but I agree with you. I don't know how much electricity to use, so I'm starting at the low end. I'm gonna use static electricity while I'm working out and see how that works.
Hey, that sounds like a good idea, Paul.
rub a balloon on my sweatshirt and hold it to
there you go. Get that electricity going that way. Sure.
I thought about this. If you use solar power, you can get a tan while you're working out. Get outside, you lift your weights outside, use solar energy, and get a tan as well. So my biggest fear is that my biceps would get so big and electrified that I'd be able to read in bed. There'd be a light. I'd have to wear a sweatshirt.
Well, Paul, you wouldn't know what to do with all this new strength, right? I mean, right now we
Not
have
that.
old.
Oh,
Right
yeah.
now we have what is called old man strength, right? And there is such a thing as old man strength. I'll speak to that. But if that
Yeah.
happened with you to get those biceps bigger or whatever it was, you wouldn't know what to do with it. I mean,
I
wow.
wouldn't. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. Well, here's a guy who does know what to do with it. This is a good lead into our next story. So this is a world record story. This guy doesn't need an electric workout. His name is Dan Galanto, and he's in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We got another Michigan story here. Set a new Guinness World Record for the heaviest single weight lifted by barbell overhead while riding a unicycle.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Another unicycle story. Oh boy.
there he is. That bar, there's a guy, he's on a unicycle, he's on a bridge. I don't know how far he had to ride, but he is holding, get ready, 206 pounds over his head on a barbell while riding a unicycle. This proves to me there's nothing to do in Grand Rapids because he comes up with this.
Well,
I don't know. Let's go ride unicycles and lift weights. Yeah. That's good. This is why you shouldn't mess with circus clowns, because I'm guessing that they do this between shows. They're on unicycles. Don't go picking on circus clowns. So I thought this was interesting. The guy in the article he talks about his whole training methodology. And Karen, this is a coaching thing. He says he didn't just practice to succeed, he also practiced to fail too. He wanted to know what it would be like to fail. Yeah.
Yep.
So he wanted to know what he would do if he tipped over or if he slipped or anything like that. Which I think that's a great idea. I think the Browns should do this too, because they tend to tip over more than they actually forward.
Yeah, I think that's a brutal truth right there, Paul. That's a brutal truth.
You're right, John. Took him an entire year. This is one of those things, like the guy must be single. Took him an entire year to get ready to do the record attempt. And he is married. I looked it up. He does have a wife who apparently wasn't there to cheer him on, but nonetheless, this is why 24-hour fitness is open at 3 a.m. for people like this who could be there.
Yeah, right. They have to do something with their energy, right? They got to do something.
Yeah,
right?
he's all by himself. He won't hurt somebody when he falls over with 100 pounds.
Right. Wow.
Above his unicycle. I said, "Holy smoke! A unicycle."
Yeah, that's a story, Paul, for sure. Wow.
Oh man, so some of you may remember a segment we did last week. We talked about, and John was involved with this one. We talked about the Arizona Coyotes. The Arizona Coyotes were a National Hockey League team in Arizona. They were based in Phoenix, I think, and they were looking for. Yeah, right, John. They were.
Yeah, that's right, Paul. Yes.
They were looking for another city to move to, and at that time, we didn't know what city they were going to. Well, another story comes up this week. And John found it. Our man, he's got a nose for these sports stories, and he also has a nose for Bigfoot. Now, he doesn't have I'm not saying he has a nose like Bigfoot. We don't really know.
Well, thanks, Paul. At least they have that going for me. Okay.
Yeah, the photos are too blurry, John. We're waiting for a good photo, and then we'll, the vote is still out. But anyway, John's got a nose for sports. He's got a nose for Bigfoot. So he jumped right on this story, and he found out that there's actually a connection between Bigfoot and these coyotes. So John, tell us about this connection here.
Yeah, I will, Paul. You're exactly right about this. So it turns out the coyotes are moving to Salt Lake City, Utah. And unlike the Utah Jazz, they want a name that fits their new home. The name they picked is the Utah Yetis, which our regular listeners know is Bigfoot's cousin from Tibet.
Wow. John, hey, John, you You know what they call a Jewish female Bigfoot from Tibet? A
No,
yenta,
what?
a yenta yeti.
Oh my.
Oh,
Oh,
that was
well,
good.
no. No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I think that the Yetis would object to that joke, Paul.
Oh
I mean,
no!
just like the company that makes Yeti coolers objected to the hockey team using their name. The
Wow.
Yeti company, which is based in Austin, Texas, of all places, filed a trademark lawsuit and temporarily stopped the team from calling themselves the Yetis, saying fans of their coolers and fans of the team might get them confused.
Come on, that's got me confused too, John. John, what would you call a Bigfoot from Tibet who eats Italian food in a sauna? A sweaty Yeti, a sweaty spaghetti Yeti. I I should have
Oh
let you.
my gosh. Oh my gosh.
A sweaty
No,
spaghetti
no.
Yeti. Oh,
Oh my, no, not me. But wait a
it's like
second. Yeti may take now. Wait a minute, Paul. Yeti may take you to court for that one,
yeah.
which is where both parties are right now. And I plan to stay on top of this exciting Bigfoot sports case until it's settled.
That's good, John. Thank you. I had another Yeti joke in my mind, but I suddenly went blurry, kind of like the Yeti there.
Oh, it kind of fits the case, right? Exactly. Fits
Here you
the
go.
case.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you what, we've been showing some of the Yeti shirts, the jerseys that they were going to choose for the Utah Yetis. I like this jersey right here with the two giant big feet on
I
the.
I do too, Paul. I think and Karen, I think it's kind of snappy. It's a kind
Yeah,
of a it's an eye catcher for sure.
yeah.
You
Well,
know,
if,
and the Yeti companies should get together with their merchandising team
right,
and create a Yeti with the feet on it.
Oh,
I
that's a good idea, Karen. Wow.
yeah, I agree. I agree with that. The one thing that I would say is that those Yeti coolers are everywhere. I'm not sure that they need any help selling those coolers because everybody's got them. Yeah. And I ask people, sometimes I'll ask people, do you know what a Yeti is? And they don't know, but they love those coolers. So
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we could adopt these guys. We haven't adopted a hockey team yet.
Nope.
Um, I think that'd be a fun team to adopt if they decide to go to go to court and win or
Yeah,
settle it.
it's kind of a cool name. To me, it's kind of a cool name. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, so is Yenta Yetis. I like that one. The Yenta Yetis.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So Yiddish. Karen, when I was back in the old days, we're going to go off track for a second here. Um, I was writing jokes for comedians, and I had a couple that were Jewish and liked Yiddish. I have a big Yiddish dictionary that I used to use all the time to look up words so that I could write jokes for it that had Yiddish punchlines. And and it's amazing the number of Yiddish words that have made it into the English language that sometimes but there's a lot of times you don't really know that a word has a Yiddish root.
Right.
Oh, that's
Some,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
a little sidetrack there. Okay, according to a new study, we'll move on here, published in the journal Current Biology, and that's one of my favorite journals. Next to Uncle John's bathroom reader, that's what I like to read in the bathroom is Current Biology.
It keeps your interest, Paul. Yeah.
And it also it's a stimulant as well, John.
I was not going there. I was just putting it out in a general comment, Paul.
I'll send you some of my used copies. It'll help you out.
No, no thanks. No thanks.
So, anyways, so as I'm reading this in Current Biology, that new study of chimpanzees, another monkey story here. New study of chimpanzees, they found out that when one chimpanzee urinates, the others immediately follow its suit and they begin to urinate. This phenomenon, this is a scientific study, they named it contagious urination. In humans, this phenomenon is known as halftime.
There you go. Get a break and get to the bathroom.
You better believe it. That's right, John, or between innings, but halftime, definitely. Everybody goes to the bathroom. Contagious urination. I don't know if you remember this, John. Contagious urination was the opening act for P. Diddy.
Oh,
But I never saw P.
Good.
Diddy, but it kind of makes sense.
It makes sense. Yeah, I know, especially he's in jail now. So,
Yeah.
I debated doing a joke about P. Diddy, and I thought, oh, geez, if you know anything about P. Diddy, you don't care. We'll do jokes
That's
jokes
true.
about it. And then I thought of this, John. Contagious urination is a lot like being in a fraternity.
Paul, that's a good one.
Everything.
That's a real practical thought there you have.
There you go. See one brother do it. Next thing you know, everybody's doing it. I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's like yawning, only with worse consequences.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree.
Now, I thought, and I was going to bring Karen in on this, I always thought that this was why women went to the ladies' room together, that they had something like this as well. But it turns out that that's contagious gossip about their dates. Would you? Yep.
Perfect. Yep.
Okay. All right. So let's move
on.
One
of those facts of life, right? One of those facts of life, right?
Facts of life. There you go. You get so much information on what in the world. You get science. You get sport. We give job tips. We did job tips last week. How to win how to set a world record. This is the place to be. This is where you need to be. Don't bother with these cable TV shows and streaming. Stick with What in the World, where you'll learn about the exhaust burger. Coming up next, inventors in Iran developed the exhaust burger grill. This is for you, John. It attaches to your car's tailpipe and channels otherwise wasted heat energy through a closed heat chamber the size of a burger on the end of your tailpipe, and it cooks a ground meat patty inside of it while you drive.
Wow. Well, go ahead. Explain more about this, Paul.
I think I know what you're going to ask. They don't say how the driver knows when the burger is done. So what you have to do is look in the rearview mirror, and if you see the motorcyclist behind you drooling, it probably means your burger smells really good and it's time to pull over. If this catches on, this is what will kill electric cars, because you can't do this with an electric car. You can only do this with a powered car. Now, John, I know what you're thinking. The exhaust does not go through the burger. The exhaust heats up the top of the container, and that's sealed separately from the burger, which is in the bottom. I think I have a picture. There you go. There's a picture of the burger inside the container.
Well, I think in theory, no. Okay, just in general, I think in theory it's good, but the exhaust, are the emissions from the exhaust filtered out?
Yeah.
So
yeah, no,
okay, all right, okay.
Near the burger.
If it just goes, if it's filtered heat or what have you, then I think that would work. I think that would be a good idea.
I think, they're trying to sell it. It's online. Look it up. Exhaust burger.
Okay.
I've heard of this before. We've probably talked about this on the show before. A lot of people cook on the hood, not on the hood, but on their engine. I've heard of people who will wrap stuff.
I remember this. Yes.
Yeah. Put it on their engine. And I was looking up some things to do on how to do that. And there's a book. I love the title of this book. It's called Manifold Destiny. And written by a guy who tested all these recipes for stuff to cook on your engine while you're driving.
Wow. I'll tell you what, that is a great story there, Paul.
he gives tips on how to do it, John. This is for you if you want to get a pad and a pen to take some notes. Stay away from the accelerator linkage. So you don't want to, the foil to bump into your linkage, and you go to press on the gas and you can't accelerate.
That would be bad.
Yeah. Your insurance covers collision, but not collision. If you're he even had a recipe for bacon bread. said, don't block the airflow underneath. You'll suffocate the engine. It's not an air fryer down there. You gotta.
All right, okay, makes sense. Makes sense to
Avoid
me.
yanking. Yeah, avoid yanking wires. So don't pull wires out, to make room for your burger. That's not a good.
Oh my gosh.
Big tip.
Oh.
He said to take some foil before you do this. Take some foil and make a cone, and put it on the top of the engine, and then close the hood, and then open the hood again. And if the cone is completely flat, that means you probably don't have enough room on the top of your engine to cook anything. But if you've got, if it only smashes a little bit, you've got room to do, cook away in your Mustang or whatever it is you're driving.
Wow, what a scientific experiment.
Oh, he's great. He's great. He says, and then he warns you, don't touch it. Don't put the food on it while the engine is hot, and certainly don't touch anything hot when you go to get your food off of it. Let it cool off.
Wow, that's something.
Honest to God, this guy was, and he said avoid foods with lots of liquid, because if you get a leak and it leaks all over your engine, then you got that goop all over your engine. You don't really want that.
No, wow,
no,
that would be a problem.
Also, he says don't eat when you're done. And you take it, put it back in the car. Don't eat while you're driving, because you could get a DWI, and that's driving with indigestion.
Get the horn out on that one, Paul. Please. Thank you. Thank you.
You're interested. He made pork roast pork roast in wings. He made chicken wings, roast potatoes, and he made shrimp, some kind of, not gumbo, like an etouffee. He all kind of stuff. So if you're interested. Wow. Manifold Destiny. It's on Amazon. Great book.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. So another sports story here. The Polar Night Marathon in Tromsø, Norway, takes place in the mountains of Norway at night in 14-degree weather. So these people are running a marathon, 26.2 miles at night, 14 degrees in the mountains. A lady by the name of Jill Punt set a new women's world record for, get ready, the fastest ice marathon dressed as a mammal.
Dressed as a mammal? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Dressed as a bear. There she is, dressed as a, you can tell it's night because she's got a headlamp on so she can see. So she crossed the finish line in 4 hours and under 5 hours. A good time. She's over 50 years old. So it was a good time. Phenomenal time for someone dressed head to toe in a bear costume at 14.
Well, I also have to think that at least she's warm in there, right? You would think, right?
You
Looks
would
like a warm. Yeah, you would think that, right?
That's right. The guy who finished in front of her, he also set a personal record, and then he found out that she wasn't a real bear, and he was kind of, that was his motivation. It stated a bear that as long as he was finished a little ahead of the bear, he wouldn't get eaten. Before you ask, she set a second marathon record for the fastest marathon while wearing Depends. So,
oh boy.
What instead of stopping to take that costume off, I think it looked like it's a one piece, about bear onesie.
Yeah, really.
If you're gonna run in freezing cold dressed like a mammal, a furry one is a good choice, so I think the bear was the right choice. You finish far ahead than people dressed like chihuahuas, hippos, and naked mole rats, which obviously don't have as much.
Quite an array of animals there.
Yeah. Now they're running there's animals all along this trail. So they said that the real mammals think humans are crazy for jogging to begin with, running marathons, especially in cold weather. But they're concerned when they see a bear. They thought that this was a real bear. They got real concerned about another bear doing something stupid that the stupid humans do. So, there was actually, they said shortly, it's not in this photo, but there was a bear following her with maps for caves where she could stop and hibernate for a while. Karen, and listeners out there, I've known John for a long time. He doesn't like to talk about that, but we used to call John Running Bear, and it's not because he's part Native American. It's because back when we were in college, there was a streaking activity going on at the campus, and so there were rumors that John was one of the streakers. So we ended up calling him John Running Bear.
Oh,
Well, I mean,
oh.
now that goes back quite a few years, and it's going to draw on people's memories if that was really the case or not. And
Actually,
I'm not going out on a limb on this one, not on this show anyway.
I'll say everything but the John part was true about that story. There you go.
Okay, okay.
Oh, there was with enough beer.
Well, that's another story there.
That is another story. Okay, Moore's department store in Kawasaki, Japan, has the world's smallest working escalator. They call it the petite escalator. It's only 5 steps high. Seems like a waste to put an escalator in there for 5 steps, right next to a stairway, which is also 5 steps, 3 feet high. The mall management says that it is used constantly. People just love it. And by people, he means American tourists who don't like walking upstairs anyway. So they're all walking on this, riding the escalator. I think, if they need to put stairs in and want to fake people out, what they should have done, instead of spending all that money, paint the real stairs to look like an escalator, and then put a sign up, escalator out of order. So people will think, oh, well, next time we come, it'll be working, and they'll walk up like stairs. So these, to me, escalators are one of the most fun forms of transportation we have.
I have to agree. Yeah, I do.
Slow down. They're scenic. You can look around. You can look at the people going in the opposite direction. Don't have to push any buttons like on an elevator. It's free entertainment, looking all around like that. Not dangerous. I've never seen a movie where, people plunge to the bottom of an escalator like they
yeah. It's a good point, Paul.
Yeah, if you plunge to the bottom of an escalator, John, what happened? You roll a little bit, and that's about it.
That'll be the extent of it, right? Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Maybe you should write. Maybe you should write a screenplay about it.
Oh, maybe. I don't.
Yeah, we can make a lot of money.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. Well, I was thinking that we were talking about walking in a mall. This would be great for exercise too. Especially walking up the wrong way on an escalator. It's like a Stairmaster for free. You don't have to pay for a gym membership.
That's a good way to look at it, Paul.
I'm always thinking, John. I'm always thinking.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Okay. So for the married people here, which is the 3 of us, there's no subject that causes more arguments in a marriage than toilet paper. Which way does it face? Does it hang down the front? Does it hang down the back? So they actually did a study on this. The people at Charmin did a study, and they said that over the top makes pulling easier, but the real issue, if you do it under, is that your hand could bump into the wall behind the toilet paper roll, and with enough people bumping their hands back there, it's full of germs. So they said that it's healthier to have it go over the top than underneath. Now,
wow, that's really an interesting research study there, Paul.
Yeah.
That's your kind of logic right there. That's your kind of logic. To me, I didn't need to think about it at all. The answer is whatever she wants, that's the way it hangs.
Oh, that's the diplomatic way to do it. Absolutely, sure. Oh,
so
yeah.
I was thinking, though, in some houses, it would be nice to have a reversible toilet paper roll. So you could, depending on which way you wanted it to hang, you could flip it when you came in. It'd be fine for you, and then somebody else comes in. Like the seat, which is allegedly up or down, depending on who's in there.
That's always a point for discussion, up or down. Oh, yeah, for sure.
You're right.
Take that to the bank.
So you could put 2 in, which is a waste, over and under, 2 different things. They actually make a dispenser that holds 2 rolls, like you see in the stadiums and that.
Right.
One over and one under. I was trying to find one that flipped around. This one looks like it's pivoted on the top, so you can spin it in either direction. Depending on
yeah, that looks like a novel way to do it, I think. Yeah.
I don't know if this one, no. Oh, no, here we go.
Oh.
Okay. So this, Karen, this leads us to the most controversial story of the week. And I never thought it would be controversial, but it was. Along the same lines and somewhat the same body location. For sale this week, the Elvis Presley Museum in Memphis is selling Elvis's personalized bedazzled jockstrap. So it's got, I'll put a picture of it for you so you can gaze at it. It says EP for Elvis Presley on the elastic band, and it is covered with little bedazzlers, those little things.
Rhinestones.
Whatever they're called. Yeah. It's covered with rhinestones and has Elvis's initials on it. The selling price, $43,500. $43,500. Yeah.
Well, that's got to be for somebody who's got money to burn.
Yes.
There you go. Not us. Not us. They said they think that Elvis wore this. And when he was wearing it, he came up with the third word for the song, Love Me Tender.
Oh.
Now,
Oh, boy.
This I was shocked at how many people were upset about this. There were people on Facebook telling me that, some people said Elvis never exercised, so he would never wear a jockstrap, which is not true. He was a well known to be very good at judo.
Right.
I think,
right. That's my understanding. Yeah. Yeah. Very good at judo.
Yeah. So, and then other people said, oh, it's a disgrace to Elvis. And then, oh, he would never wear something like that, geez. So it used to be at the Elvis Presley Museum in Memphis. And Jimmy Velvet was his one of his friends who was the curator there. The godfather of Elvis memorabilia, John. That's what they called him. So we need to start calling you the godfather of Guardians and Indians memorabilia, I think.
Well, you know what? I would like that moniker. I don't know if Annette would go for it, but I like that moniker. I kind of like it.
So if you're concerned about spending $43,500, rest assured that it comes with its own decorative frame. So
oh, wow.
Wow. So, well, that's a plus, I guess, right? That's a plus.
Not only that, according to Jimmy Velvet, I love that name, Jimmy Velvet, the jockstrap was gifted to Elvis by a fan. So some fan made this for him and gave it to him. My question is, how did the fan know what size Elvis?
Well, that opens up a whole different can of worms for sure.
Yeah. Well, you know me, John. I opened that can of worms. So I went looking to see if there were any photos. I didn't think I'd find a photo of the actual, Big Elvis or whatever you called it. But I did find here's a photo of Elvis, early Elvis, younger Elvis, when he was, I think, this is before the Ed Sullivan Show, when he's shaking his hips. So you can kind of see he's kind of, he's shaking away facing the camera. You can maybe get a little bit of an estimate about how big his jockstrap could be from that photo. I like the fact if you look at which way the guitar is pointing, that kind of adds to the.
Don't forget, Paul. This is a family show. Don't forget, it's a family show now. Come on now.
So then, John, I kept looking and I found this one here. So this was from Blue Hawaii, where he was wearing a swimming trunks and standing in front of a green screen. I thought he was in Hawaii when he did that movie, but apparently not. So he's wearing swim trunks, so you can kind of tell. I think I see Karen zooming in on it right here.
I am, yeah.
Oh my Lord!
The best one is this photo right here. This is the only known photo of Elvis's hand close to his crotch. Now, he's not grabbing his crotch a la Michael Jackson, but this photo may have inspired Michael Jackson to
it may have
add that to his repertoire. So those are three photos there where people could have looked at that and kind of figured out how big of a jockstrap Elvis needed. And I don't know how they figured out how many rhinestones to put on it, but he wasn't the rhinestone cowboy. But after wearing that, he might have been.
Yeah, sure.
So anyway, all right. Well, that's the end of my portion of What in the World, which means it's time for What in the World is Sports with my old buddy John DiNallo. So every week, you guys know I ask John to find a sport that fits with the theme of What in the World. And every week, John manages to find a sport that's stranger than the previous one. This week is no exception. John, what do you got for us?
Oh, sure, Paul and Karen and audience. So our sport this week is right in the vein of all the other sports we talk about here on What in the World, kind of as Paul has said. The sport is, excuse me, a milk can regatta. Specifically, it's the Darwin beer can regatta. Now, you may ask why the sport is called both a milk can regatta and a beer can regatta. The reason is, get ready for this, the boats that compete in the regatta can be made with empty beer cans, soft drink cans, soft drink bottles, and milk cartons. The Darwin Beer Can Regatta is a festival event that has been held annually since 1974 on Mindle Beach at Darwin in the Northern Territory of Australia.
Wow.
The inaugural event had 63 entries, and believe it or not, 22,000 people attended it. And this is about half of Darwin's total population at the time.
It's true.
You know, they talk about beer being a real popular
Wow.
beverage in Australia. Well, here's a great example of that. Now,
Nope.
believe it or not, participants use up to 30,000 cans on a single boat. The vessels are not tested for seaworthiness prior to the water events, and those that fall apart are part of the day's entertainment, which to me sounds like a hoot. A great many other sundry events do go along with the regatta, including concerts, sandcastle building, a novelty hat competition, and a thong throwing contest. Unfortunately, like Bigfoot, we have no photos of that one.
Oh, no thong throwing. Oh, I'm
I
disappointed.
was doing a lot of research. I'm a good researcher, really, when I want to be, and I just couldn't find it. So, at any rate, so the regatta was conceived by Darwin businessmen Lutz Frankfeld and Paul Rice Chapman as a way to clean up beer cans that were littering the Darwin streets. Many of those came from the Darwin Rock Sitters Club, which sat on rocks and drank beer. Only in Australia can you have something like this. Now, the winner, if you're interested, the winner of the first beer can regatta was Kevin Jacques. He actually drove the Darwin Powerboat Club's entry, the Pistol Knight. And for his effort, you may think Jacques would have been well compensated. He received a check for only $1,000.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, but the Darwin Regional, this is important, folks. The Darwin Regional Tourism Promotion Association, that's a mouthful. Darwin Regional Tourism Promotion Association. They organized the event until 1978, when then it became under the auspices of the Lions Club of Darwin, which sets the rules and runs the races. So that's for you, Karen, in terms of making sure that these participants are following the rules and not
absolutely.
breaking the rules and things like that. Now, the rules are pretty simple. All craft should appear to be made of recycled drink containers, cans, milk cartons, plastic bottles. All crew members shall wear a suitable flotation jacket. The crew shall be responsible for all damage that is caused by the boat. At the conclusion of the regatta, the crew shall remove all boats or parts of boats. Entrants are reminded that there are heavy penalties for littering. I won't get into what the penalties are, but just rest assured they're heavy. And of course, no drowning.
Whoa.
Now, instructions for building your boat are on the Darwin Beer Can Regatta website. They have an actual website. There it is with Paul. And the next one is going to be held on June 8th of 2025. What that does, that gives you plenty of time to find a rock to sit on and start emptying cans of beer.
Love
And
it.
to, and to the other point about any kind of contagious urination, I'll leave it up to your imagination.
Ah,
There are so many only in Australia parts of that story. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely right, Paul. Oh yeah.
I've actually been to Darwin, although I don't remember seeing people sitting on rocks drinking beer, but I certainly believe that would be the case because there's an awful lot of beer drinking going on in Australia, and they're proud of it. But this is great. The boats, we were looking at photos of the boats as John was talking. The boats are of all different shapes. They looks like they're violating that wearing a flotation device law. There were a couple of people were wearing beer cans, which
hey, it's almost like anything goes. I mean, it's like the classic line: rules are made to be broken, right? So
Yep.
that's why you have these people.
Exactly.
These people are out there. They're on the edge, right? You know, they're what do you call it? They're testing the envelope. You know, that kind of thing.
Yes. So definitely. So this this is the kind of thing that should be going on all around the world. I think that everybody would have fun doing this. John, I don't know if you were, this is the perfect kind of fraternity activity. And believe it or not, we did something like this way back when we were in college and in the fraternity. Do you remember doing this? A beer?
No, you know, you have to bring me back on this one, Paul. No, I really can't pinpoint it. Please go ahead.
We were challenged by another fraternity to a beer can race. You had to make a beer can boat. That was the rule. You had to make a beer can boat. So, the older brothers they always picked on me and John. We were the ones who had to do the work. So we said, no problem. We will get a beer can boat. So we went out, we came back the day of the race, and we brought a beer can boat, which was a canoe filled with beer cans. And we proceeded to share the beer with the other fraternity, get drunk and have a good time, just like you're supposed to do in college.
Oh yeah, okay. All right, okay. Until I saw that photo, it didn't really come back to me, but now it did.
Oh, there's some juice in there. I don't think I don't think those juice boxes were invented way back when in the Stone Age when
could be Paul, some kind of photo cropping going on. That's all I'm going to say on that one. Or photo bombing, I should say.
There you go. Photo bombing by juice boxes. There you go. All right, John. Great story as always. Beer can. Come back next week for another story.
Oh, we have another one next week for sure. Yeah.
Story. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, that means that we've reached the portion of the show that there's a few people who can't wait. This is their favorite part of the show. Bluff the co-host. Everybody's favorite weird news game. Rules are even simpler than the beer can regatta. Don't have to wear a flotation device, although there might be contagious urination though by the end of this one. We have three stories similar to the ones we've been talking about all afternoon. One big difference: those were real. These stories may be real, maybe a bluff. It's up to Karen, John, and those of you playing at home to decide what wagering is allowed. So place your bets. John and Karen, put your hands on the buzzer. Let's get right to story number one.
Okay.
Everyone has their favorite way to eat Pringles, but experts say the best way is to flip the chip over when you take it out of the can because all of the flavor is on the top. With the Super Bowl coming up, medical experts are recommending the right way to eat Doritos, but not for taste, but to avoid choking on these triangular chips. Most people hold a point of the Dorito and put the wide end in their mouth first, but doctors say this is a choking hazard and highly recommend holding the wide end in your fingers and eating the chip point first. That way, if you start choking, you or a friend can reach in easily, grab the big end, and pull it out. Frito-Lay denies that Doritos are a choking hazard, and Kellogg's points out that Pringles have only round edges. Okay, so the makers of Doritos are fighting medical experts who say Doritos could be a choking hazard, but there's one right way to eat them. Real or bluff? Karen, we'll start with you.
Well, all food can be a choking hazard. So let's just, get that out there for all our listeners. You got to be careful. But I don't think Doritos are specifically a choking hazard. So I'm going to say this is a bluff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like wings. You don't eat. Look to see if it's boneless first before you swallow the wing. That's always
right. Yep.
Okay, so Karen says it's a bluff. John, how about you? I know you're a Pringles fan, not a Doritos fan, but
yes, I am a Pringles fan for sure. Well, I'll tell you what, Paul, Karen, and audience, seeing how we're right around the time of the Super Bowl when more snacks are probably consumed than any other time of the year, I'm going to say that there's some credibility to this. I'm going to say it's a real story. I'm going to say it's true.
Oh, okay. So John says that Doritos could be a choking hazard according to medical expert. Karen says, no, that's a bluff, but all food can choke you. So that's from the Coach Karen side over there. So Karen says, John says it's real. The judges say, congratulations go to Karen. That is definitely a bluff.
Well, okay. Well, that's good, Karen. I'm glad that you won.
Yeah.
I'm glad you won that bout. But yeah, okay, all right.
So now you're ready to beat me on the next two. I get it.
Oh,
okay.
I don't know. Everybody loves a winner, Karen. Everybody loves a winner, right? So,
Those of you who can't see the scoreboard, it's 1-0. Karen is in the lead. Let's get right to story number 2. You've all heard, you've heard of all the problems a bull in a china shop can cause. But Chinese media is reporting that there was a bull in a barber shop in China, and it's almost as bad. The bull escaped from a truck, stopped at a light near the barber shop, and its owner said the red capes wrapped around the customers' necks may have reminded him of a bullfighter. Luckily, the customers were able to run out the back door, but not before a few of them got some bad clips, not from the bull, but from panicking barbers. The bull's owner finally caught him, paid the fine, and also paid for all the interrupted haircuts, including for one man who thought that his bull-inspired cut was better than his regular style. So, you heard a bull in China shop. In China, there was a bull in a barber shop. Real or bluff? John, we'll start with you.
Well, I'll tell you what, Paul, Karen, audience, I think this should be a true story because I think it's hilarious. I mean, I could envision this happening, right? I mean, bulls are not supposed to escape like any animal, not supposed when they're in captivity or whatever, or in, where they're supposed to be. They get loose, and I'm sure there's a lot of barbershops in China, and I'm sure people are possibly wearing red, or maybe even seeing the barber pole, if the barber pole in China has the red, white, and blue. So I'm going to say it's real. I'm going to say it's a true story.
Well, that's true. That's true. Okay, John says that the bull in the barbershop in China is true. Karen, how about you?
Well, I'm going to show my expertise here. Got it? Okay. Bulls are colorblind.
No,
I did not know that.
Going to attack the red.
I did not know that. Wow.
I didn't know that either. Wow.
They're attracted to the movement. It's not the color.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Learn something new on what in the world. Wouldn't
another educational piece, right?
Yeah.
How does that affect your choice then, Karen?
My choice is that it's not a true story because
okay, because bulls are colorblind. It's a bluff. John said it's so hilarious it's got to be true. The answer comes from our judges, and the judges say, congratulations go to John. That is a true story. Now, that's what the guy said.
Why was the movement?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, I get that. Sure.
But they did have red, bibs, whatever you call those things.
Smocks or whatever, smock, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Smock.
Cable,
There you go.
yeah.
Smock. That's the sound that a bull makes too. Smock, smock. Or a crow. Anyway, I hate to do this. Golfers, who used to do that all the time was Steve Allen.
Yes, he
Allen,
did. Yes, he did. I remember that.
Before Johnny Carson. That was when he would he would want to distract people, and that's what he would do. He'd say, smack, smack. Okay. Boy, I'm showing my age. I won't.
Hey, we're right with you, Paul.
Yeah,
we're right with you.
We are.
Okay, so that means the score is tied 1-1. The points are doubled in round number 3, but it doesn't matter. Whoever we will either have a tie or we'll have a winner here. So let's see what we got. Story number 3. The Rubik's Cube has inspired many world records, including for the fastest solver, the fastest underwater solver, the fastest blindfolded solver, and many more. However, the makers of the cubes, Guinness World Records, and Erno Rubik himself are asking people to stop trying to put small Rubik's cubes in their mouths and solve them with their tongues.
Oh my gosh.
While no one has died from choking on a Rubik's Cube while attempting the record, Guinness has heard of people cutting their tongues, breaking their teeth, and gouging their cheeks. No one has been able to solve a cube with just their tongue, but Guinness says it will not recognize it as a record if anyone does. Okay, so Guinness and Erno Rubik himself are saying, people, don't try to solve a Rubik's Cube with your tongue in your mouth. Real or bluff? Karen, we'll start with you.
I hope it's real because I think it's the stupidest thing anybody could do.
I wouldn't try to do that then. I would pay to see somebody do it, but okay. So Karen says what did you said that's a bluff?
No, true.
Okay.
Yeah.
John, how about you?
Yeah, I'm with Karen on this one because I don't think I've ever heard in the last couple of weeks anything as ridiculous as trying to solve Rubik's Cube in someone's mouth. I mean, what is the motivation for that? I mean, so if they have a Guinness record, that's what you want to be noted for or recognized for. I mean, I just find it just highly ridiculous, and I would hope that Mr. Rubik or what have you, and the whoever it was, to advise these people not to do that. It's so foolish.
Well, okay, all right. Both good arguments in favor of that being a real story. I'm surprised Rubik is still alive. He's a billionaire by now for selling all those cubes.
Oh, I bet. Sure.
So both of you say that's a real story. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, well, they'll say, congratulations, you both tied, but that is a bluff. That's not a real story.
Really?
I even thought that some of my magician friends knew of some magician who might, fake doing it, put a Rubik's Cube in their mouth and out comes the solved one. But they said, no, they've never heard of that. But it's a good idea. So watch for it. Penn and Teller.
Something to look forward to, Paul.
Yeah. So scores tied. That means both of you go home winners. So John certainly can rest for a week. He doesn't have to cram for next week's contest. Karen can go back to coaching and producing podcasts and all that good stuff that she does. And all the rest of you, tell your friends that you had a really good time, I hope, listening to What in the World, everybody's favorite weird news show. So I want to thank Karen for all she does for our show, all she does for all the podcasts on her platform, newclevelandradio.net. Also for her coaching, go to newclevelandradio.net, find everything you need to know about our podcast, the rest of our podcast, and Yes, I Can Coaching with Karen. Also thank my buddy John, who looks rested, relaxed, and tanned. But I know he's working hard down there. John, we'll see you next week. There's no football game this week, but I know we'll be talking about the Super Bowl pretty soon. Oh,
yeah. And two good teams. I mean, the way I look at this, you have Kansas City that's been playing outstanding football for years. And Philly, they had a little bit of a blip, a year or two ago, right? When they were even talking about firing the head coach, but they're on all cylinders, man. They played a fantastic game on Sunday, so it should be a good matchup. Should be.
Right. If you're in Cleveland, a reason to root for the Kansas City Chiefs. Jason Kelsey is from Cleveland, Ohio. So
Right.
Travis Kelsey. Travis.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Taylor Swift, as my niece calls him.
Wow.
There we go.
Yeah, I know. All right, and as always, I want to thank everybody out there. Thank you so much for listening to the show. We really appreciate it. Follow us on YouTube, and all that other stuff. When I get back on Facebook, please send me messages, friend, follow, do all that stuff so we know that you're listening. Send messages to Karen as well. We love feedback. We love ideas. Obviously, we'll mention you on the show if it's appropriate, and sometimes when it's inappropriate. That's the kind of people. And on that note, I think we will get back to doing whatever it is we do after the show is over. So we'll see all of you next week. Bye-bye.
Have a good week, everybody.
Groundhog's Day.
Oh yeah, coming up.